here we are first going to swallow the bolus, and as you can see here, as we saw, there's a little bit of residue of the bolus around your epiglottis, around your arytenoid cartilage. Most of the bolus went down the esophagus during the swallow, but there's still some left that needs to be cleared. You can see the valleculae right here as it collects the bolus and guides it down to the epiglottis and the area around there. And you can't see much of your oral cavity right now. The only thing you can see is the back of your tongue and the beginning of the esophageal swallow. I think that's it. Is that it, think?
Yeah. So, okay, I have some questions for you though.
Yeah.
You said bolus. Like, what's a bolus?
So the green liquid that you're swallowing, we artificially colored it so that we can see it more clearly and see where it's gathering, see where it's collecting, see if there's any residue on the vocal folds. You can see down here. You can see the vocal folds down here. So if you see any of this green liquid lying on top of these vocal folds or even penetrating past the vocal fold, then that can be a cause for concern because that can lead you to aspirate and that could show signs of an improper swallow. This bolus is the liquid that you're swallowing. So any food, any liquid, any matter that you're trying to swallow, like water, milk, anything, and it can be different thicknesses. It can be up to solid all the way to watery thick. So
okay, thank you. Okay, and I was just wondering, so I'm looking at what you pointed out and you called them vocal folds.
Yeah.
They're kind of like whitish. Is that normal?
That is the cartilage around your vocal folds. So that is normal. There's no cause for concern there. There are muscle around the vocal folds, but we can't really see at this moment. We can only see the inner part of the vocal folds.
Okay. So. And then yeah, so is my swallow, is that like pretty normal?
Let me look at a full swallow again.
Sure.
Let's see. It seems to be pretty normal. There seems to be no residue left over it. There seems to be no weakness of either side of your throat, of your epiglottis. It seems to be all symmetrical. And so yeah, it seems to be a pretty normal swallow.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. 5 questions. We need 5 questions.
Oh, okay. Let me see. I also was wondering, what do the vocal folds do?
Well, as our vocal folds, what do you mean? What did they do as part of the swallow, or what do they do as their main function?
Yeah, well, kind of just both. Like, I don't really know what vocal folds are. So.
Well, their main function is to produce sound so that we can speak and we can communicate with each other, and they vibrate, and that's how we can make this sound and shape this sound. And as a function of our vocal folds in the swallowing process, they are a last line of defense pretty much against any bolus traveling down our airway. So we don't want any liquid or any food travel down our airway. We only want to go down our esophagus to our stomach.
Okay.
So it's kind of our last line of defense.
Yeah. Okay. Then I just thought of one more question. So you said, the bolus, you said it was kind of going down the sides, and then like I couldn't really tell like when that whiteout was happening. Like where does the bolus go afterward? Like if it's not going into the trachea, like where, like what part is it going down into the esophagus? I just couldn't really see.
Could you explain that question a little bit more? I'll follow in that. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I was just wondering, so like where is the esophagus?
Oh, it is behind our trachea. So our air pipe is in front, our trachea is in front, and you can feel that that hard cartilage in your front of your throat. The esophagus is a soft passageway that expands and to accommodate any food traveling down it. So
Okay, so it's behind.
it's behind.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks. Well, thank you. I think that's all the questions that I've had.
No problem. All right. So let's switch it up. All right.
Cool.
How do we do this now?
All right. So you can turn off screen sharing if you want
Right.
on your end.
I gotta go to. I think I just did. Did I turn it off? I clicked X off your little box.
Let's see. I can still see your screen.
Okay, so I need to click. How does that get your screen sharing off? Let's try that. Let's go into this.
So
I got it.
there you go.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, I'm going to start mine.
Okay.
Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Okay.
Now I can, yes.
You can. Okay,
Yes.
awesome. I'm going to get my video. And good to go?
We're good to go.
Okay. All right, Clayton, thanks for coming in. We're going to be looking at your swallow today. So with this view, we already have the endoscope. It's already gone through your nasal passageway. And right now you can see the base of the tongue. And right here, this structure is called the epiglottis. And I'm going to play it a little bit. You can see you're about to swallow some liquid. And as you do, you're going to see it collecting around the epiglottis in the valleculae. Right there. It's going to go down past the epiglottis. That big white flash was a swallow that you just did. And these right here are called the vocal folds. And as you swallow, they're going to come together. They're going to adduct so that none of the liquid goes down into your airway. And your epiglottis, this structure right here, is going to fold over, and it's also going to be a major protector of your airway. So we're going to watch the swallow a little bit more. You swallow it again, and great, you cleared up that residue. I'm going to do a couple more swallows. Yep, and you can see this big gap, this airway right here, your glottis. Right here, these are your arytenoids. They help your vocal folds to come together, to adduct and abduct so you can breathe. And let's see a little bit more of the swallow. That's a good view of the airway. It looks very clean. No residue, which is great. That's what we want to see. And I'm just going to back this up a little bit. We can see one of those swallows one more time. Maybe I went too far. Sorry, there we go. That's a good view. All right, so as the bolus or the liquid collects around your epiglottis, it's going to be going from the valleculae, sliding down to the piriform sinus, where it's going to collect about here. This is about where your esophagus is. And as you swallow, it's going to relax a little bit, which opens up the upper esophageal sphincter and allows it to go down toward your stomach. All right, so Clayton, it looks like you have a great swallow. No concerns here, but do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, of course I do. I have no idea what I'm looking at here. So
okay,
you said something about, you said valleculae, you said epiglottis, and so what's that bumpy looking thing? Is that like, what is that even part of?
Yeah. So let's see. Which bumpy thing are you talking about? These things here, or?
Oh, I'm talking about the really big bumpy thing that's kind of towards the bottom of the screen, not right there, maybe farther back.
Yeah. Let me play your swallow.
Yeah, right there, where it's like,
just
oh
right
yeah.
Here?
A little bit where all the blue stuff is. It's like
all right here.
Bumpy thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's actually like around the base of your tongue.
Oh.
And I know it looks weird. We're not used to seeing in our mouths really that far down ever. But yeah, that's pretty normal.
So that's still part of my tongue. My tongue goes all the way back.
It does. Yeah, your tongue is actually a huge structure.
Wow. So why can't I see anything when the swallow happens? You said there's a flash, and you said that's when I swallowed. But why can't I see anything when that swallow happens? Like it's already past my mouth, isn't it? Like why can't I see anything?
Yeah, so when you swallow, I think it's mainly just because there's so many things happening at the same time, where there's so many things moving. There's that contraction of your muscles to make sure that everything goes down, and it really just blocks our view. So for that split second, we can't see what's going on, which is why it's really nice to be able to see right before and right after.
Mm.
Yeah.
So is it normal for the liquid to like stay in my throat like that? Like when I swallow, I feel like I swallow pretty quickly, but when I'm looking at it, it just kind of trickles down sometimes.
Yeah, actually that is normal. And I mean, I stopped the video quite a few times, so it probably slowed it down, or it looked like it slowed down. But yeah, that is normal. Swallowing happens in phases, and up until you really trigger that full swallow, there's going to be some liquid kind of hanging out in this area right before the epiglottis at the base of the tongue, and then some a little bit further down toward the esophagus. So, yeah, that's normal.
Okay. So what is the epiglottis, for? Like why, how can it can move? Like why, how can it move? Like it just seems kind of strange that it can move so far and then come back up to where it is. Like what's the purpose of it?
Yeah, so it's really an amazing and really vital structure for us. So this is like our first line of defense to make sure that food and liquid does not go down our airway into our lungs. So that epiglottis, it's cartilage that is controlled by muscles, and as we swallow, if it's a healthy swallow like yours, those muscles are triggered to move that epiglottis, and it folds down. So it folds down right over this airway. It like completely seals over it. So that's the main purpose, is to protect that airway. But it's yeah. Did that answer your question?
It did. I guess I have one more question. Is
Okay.
just why do we color the liquid and all the food that we swallow when we do this little video thing? Like I'm pretty sure I could see it even if it wasn't colored. So why do we think we need to do that? It's like kind of unnecessary, isn't it?
That's a good question. I think for a lot of things we swallow, like if it were milk, it would be pretty easy to see, where the liquid is in comparison to everything else. It makes it really nice and easy for us to distinguish it from all the other structures. Being, a blue color that we wouldn't normally see anywhere in the oral cavity or in the larynx. So we can see exactly where the liquid is. And then if there's any leftover, any residue, we want to be able to see that, to see if there's an issue clearing that food or that swallow. And so just having a little bit of color, it really makes it clear for us, and really to demonstrate for you as well. If it were something like water, you could really see it go down, but it would be really tough to say if there's residue left over. But that's a good question. Yeah.
I think that's all questions I have.
Okay, thank you.